Have you ever noticed a particular kind of male gaze that seems to pierce your very soul? I'm not referring to that obvious, overt desire that any woman can spot in an instant. I'm talking about something far more profound, far rarer, and infinitely more potent. It's that moment when he sees you, and something shifts in the atmosphere surrounding the two of you. Time seems to stand still. He becomes somewhat lost, as if he's just awakened from a dream, and you sense that something significant has just occurred. Yet you can't quite articulate what. Most women completely miss these signals. They're so preoccupied with dissecting whether he replied quickly on WhatsApp, if he liked a photo on Instagram, or if he made plans for the weekend, that they overlook the true indicators that they've awakened something revolutionary within the male psyche. And here's the truth no one tells you. Men don't operate the way you think they do. Carl Jung, the psychologist who deciphered the deepest secrets of the human mind, discovered that every man carries within him a secret woman. He called this the anima. And when a man encounters the real woman who resonates with this internal woman, an emotional revolution occurs that he can't even consciously control. But herein lies the problem. You've been taught to look for the wrong signals. You've been told to observe if he calls you, if he takes you to dinner, if he posts a photo with you. You've been instructed to beg for scraps of attention and interpret superficial behaviors as if they were declarations of love. This is fundamentally flawed. And while you're busy analyzing these irrelevant details, you're missing the genuine moments when he reveals that you've touched the deepest, most transformative part of his soul. Because when you awaken a man's anima, he can no longer forget you. You become the woman he compares all others to for the rest of his life. You become the impossible standard that no one else can measure up to. But this only happens if you know how to recognize and amplify these sacred moments. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to identify when you've activated this powerful archetypal force within the male psyche. I will teach you the secret language his unconscious uses to tell you that you are the woman he was searching for without even realizing it. And more importantly, I will equip you with the tools to cease expending your emotional energy on men who regard you as merely one option among many, and to commence attracting those who recognize you as the indispensable component completing their wholeness. Because once you grasp the mechanics of the masculine anima, you will never again need to question a man's genuine interest. You will simply know, and that certainty alters everything. So tell me, are you prepared to uncover the signals that 99% of women are unaware exist? Are you ready to comprehend what truly transpires in the male psyche when he beholds you and senses that his life has irrevocably transformed? Because once you learn this, there is no turning back. You will never again settle for superficial connections or man incapable of perceiving your true essence. Let us commence. Now, if you've made it this far, it means something within you has recognized the truth of what I've just shared. You felt that shiver of recognition when I spoke of the signs you've been overlooking. You know there's something far deeper unfolding in your relationships than you could previously perceive. And now, I'm going to teach you the first activation ritual. Carl Jung discovered that our subconscious mind responds to symbols and words imbued with archetypal power. There is a specific word that, when you write it down and declare it, sends a direct message to your subconscious that you are ready to awaken this ancestral feminine power. This word is anima, but it's not merely about writing it for the sake of it. When you type anima in the comments now, you're doing far more than participating in a video. You are declaring to the universe that you choose to cease begging for male attention, activating within your psyche the understanding that you are the woman who ignites transformation in man, signaling to your subconscious that you are prepared to embrace your true feminine power, transmitting an energetic frequency that primes your mind to integrate this revolutionary knowledge. In the coming hours, as you apply what you've learned here, your perception of the men around you will begin to change radically. You will notice signs that have always been present, but which you never knew how to interpret. And when this happens, you will understand that becoming part of this community of awakened women was the decision that changed everything. But this only works if you take this first conscious step. So, if you are ready to stop being just another lost woman trying to decipher male behavior through superficial methods, if you are ready to become the woman who instantly recognizes when she has awakened a man's anima, if you wish to be part of the secret sisterhood of women who comprehend the deepest mysteries of the masculine psyche, type anima in the comments now. And as you type, visualize that you are activating within yourself the power to never again settle for men who fail to see your transformative essence. Because the women who do this, they are never again in doubt about what a man truly feels. They simply know. And you will know too. Let me tell you what truly transpires in a man's mind when he encounters you and senses that something has irrevocably shifted. The prevailing belief among most women is that men are simplistic beings. They only want sex. They don't engage on an emotional level. If he wanted to, he would. This is a pernicious falsehood that is wreaking havoc on your relationships. Carl Jung unearthed a revolutionary insight. Every man exists in a state of internal division between two psychological realities. The first is the persona, the social facade he dons to navigate the world. It is the tough guy who eschews vulnerability, who necessitates constant control, who feigns self-sufficiency. However, beneath this veneer lies an entirely different reality. There is the anima, the unconscious feminine aspect he harbors within. And here lies the secret that no woman has divulged to you. The masculine anima yearns desperately to be acknowledged and awakened. When you meet a man and perceive that he regards you with a peculiar intensity, when he seems somewhat adrift in your presence, when he probes your aspirations, your deepest fears, your most profound passions, he is not merely engaging in flirtation. He is unconsciously recognizing that you resonate with the hidden feminine essence residing within him. And here is what the majority of women fail to grasp. When this occurs, you transcend the status of a mere conquest. You become the key to his psychological wholeness. Yet, the tragedy is that most women extinguish this sacred connection before it has a chance to blossom. How, you ask? They endeavor to capture his attention through his persona, that superficial mask. They send saccharine messages. They compliment his physique. They strive to embody the perfect woman who is unobtrusive, undemanding, and unchallenging. In doing so, they engage only with his hollow shell. The masculine anima does not seek a woman who diminishes herself. It craves a woman who mirrors the very depths of feminine power that he unconsciously carries. It desires emotional intensity, enigmatic allure, psychological profundity, and transformative authenticity. This is why you have witnessed men utterly captivated by women who are not necessarily the most conventionally beautiful or accomplished, but who have managed to touch that archetypal stratum of the male psyche. And here is what he truly desires, though he will never articulate it consciously. He longs for you to be the conduit between himself and the emotional completeness he forfeited upon learning to be a man within societal constructs. He desires that you possess the fortitude to perceive beyond his persona and the courage to evoke the authentic vulnerability he conceals. Yet, he also requires the assurance that you are psychologically robust enough not to shatter when he exposes his darker facets. For every man harbors a shadow, that segment of himself he disavows and endeavors to mask. And when he is genuinely captivated by a woman, he subconsciously probes whether she can navigate his totality, including the very aspects he himself dreads. This is precisely where the majority of women falter spectacularly. They recoil from intensity. They crave only the light and romantic facade. They become unnerved when he reveals emotional complexity, internal conflicts, or when he projects onto them aspects of his own anima that remain unintegrated. However, when a woman grasps these Jungian mechanisms, when she comprehends that his apparent turmoil is, in reality, the individuation process activated by her presence, everything transforms. She ceases striving to win him over and begins to recognize when she has already triumphed on the deepest conceivable level. She stops misinterpreting his contradictory behaviors as disinterest and starts to perceive them for what they truly are, the masculine unconscious attempting to integrate feminine aspects she has awakened. More significantly, She cultivates the power to differentiate between men who are merely physically attracted and those undergoing a psychological revolution due to her influence. But this is merely the nascent stage. For when you truly understand how to awaken and nurture this connection with the masculine anima, you will never again need to question your standing with a man. You will simply know that you have become indispensable to his individuation process. And men do not forsake women who have become integral to their journey towards psychological wholeness. They marry them. Now that you understand there's a secret woman dwelling within every man's unconscious, I need to teach you how to recognize when you've awakened her. This is crucial because most women are looking for the wrong signs. They'll meticulously analyze whether he posted stories, if he responded promptly, or if he asked them out for the weekend. In doing so, they completely miss the genuine indicators that they've become indispensable to his psyche. Let me show you what truly transpires when a man encounters the woman who resonates with his anima. First, he'll suddenly possess an unprecedented desire to delve into your inner world. Not your superficial preferences, mind you, but your deepest fears, your wildest dreams, your most intimate wounds. Why does this occur? Because his anima recognizes that you embody the very feminine aspects he needs to integrate. Unconsciously, he knows that comprehending your psyche is akin to understanding the part of him that has perpetually lain dormant. While many women may perceive this as intrusive or too intense, when he yearns to plumb the depths of your soul, it's not mere casual curiosity. It's an archetypal necessity. And here's a profound truth no relationship guru will ever impart. When you awaken a man's anima, he will inevitably project onto you both the luminous and the shadow qualities of his internal feminine. One day, he may regard you as the most incredible woman alive. The next, he'll question everything about you, test your boundaries, and instigate seemingly pointless arguments. Why does he behave this way when, in reality, he senses you are special? Because his masculine unconscious is assessing whether you possess the psychological fortitude to be his partner in the process of individuation. Jung discovered that the masculine anima doesn't seek a fragile princess, it seeks a warrior queen, a woman capable of being both nurturing and challenging, both gentle and unyielding. When he provokes you, he isn't losing interest. He's verifying if you possess the psychological strength required to awaken his totality. And then, something extraordinary begins to unfold. He reveals vulnerabilities he conceals from everyone else. The masculine persona is meticulously constructed to mask weaknesses. But when the anima is awakened, he experiences an unconscious compulsion to show you precisely that which he hides from the world. He confides fears he's never admitted. He divulges insecurities that even his closest friends remain unaware of. He speaks of dreams he's abandoned, of the pressure he feels to always be strong, of how he feels lost at times. Why does he do this only with you? Because his anima knows you can be the bridge to the emotional integration he needs. He unconsciously tests whether you can love not just his strong, virgin, but also the vulnerable man behind the mask. Most women make a fatal mistake here. They are either frightened by such emotional intensity, try to fix him, or worse, use these vulnerabilities against him later. When you do this, you kill the connection with his anima forever. But also observe how he includes you in aspects of his life he considers sacred. Every man has areas he deems intimate and protected. It could be his relationship with family, his most important professional projects, the hobbies that define him, or even the physical spaces where he feels most himself. When you awaken the masculine anima, he feels a deep need to integrate you into these sacred areas. Not because he wants to show off his life to you, but because he unconsciously knows you need to be present in the aspects that most define him for individuation to occur. And here is the most powerful sign of all. When a man is under the influence of his own anima, awakened by you, he spontaneously begins to integrate more feminine aspects into his personality. He becomes more attuned to emotional details, more interested in deep conversations, more affectionate and expressive, more concerned with aesthetics and beauty, more intuitive in his decisions. Why does this happen? Because the presence of a woman who resonates with his anima forces the individuation process. He unconsciously knows he needs to become more psychologically complete to be worthy of the connection you share. But here's what most women fail to grasp: these behaviors aren't meant to impress you. They are the natural result of the psychological transformation you've triggered within him. And when you recognize this, when you understand that you don't need to demand changes because they happen organically when you occupy the right place in the male psyche, you stop sabotaging relationships that could be extraordinary. Because the truth is that most women destroy the very men who love them most, simply because they fail to recognize love when it manifests through profound psychological processes. They want flowers and romantic dinners, and completely overlook when a man is restructuring his entire personality because of their presence. But when you know how to recognize these signs, when you understand that his confusion is actually integration, when you realize that emotional intensity means you've touched the core of the masculine soul, you will never again be in doubt about your standing with a man. We now arrive at the most critical juncture of this entire body of knowledge. For it is one thing to recognize that you have awakened the masculine anima, and quite another to know how to nurture this sacred connection so that it blossoms into something enduring and profound. Most women, upon finally encountering a man who exhibits these signs of deep connection, commit the very same devastating errors that obliterate the magic before it can fully unfurl. And they do so because they have been conditioned to behave in ways that resonate with the masculine persona, but which are in fact toxic to the anima. Let me elucidate the fundamental divergence. The masculine persona that social guise he dons in the wider world responds favorably to superficial flattery, predictable comportment, and women who readily conform to his societal expectations. But the masculine anima, that profound and transformative facet of his psyche, craves something entirely disparate. The masculine anima requires radical authenticity. It yearns for a woman who is psychologically intricate, emotionally whole, and courageous enough to mirror back to him aspects of his inner feminine that he has yet to consciously access. Jung posited that the anima is, at its core, a conduit to psychological wholeness. And if you aspire to occupy this pivotal role in a man's life, you must be willing to serve as both a mirror and a catalyst for transformation. Herein lies what genuinely proves effective once you have indeed awakened the connection to his anima. First, you must steadfastly maintain your own emotional depth and never diminish yourself to accommodate his societal expectations. The masculine anima is captivated by women who possess a rich inner life, who cultivate an air of mystery without resorting to manipulation, and who are capable of emotional intensity devoid of gratuitous drama. This necessitates that you refrain from becoming overly accessible, excessively predictable, or unduly simplistic. The anima requires a continuous unveiling of your layers. It must sense that there is always a deeper stratum to explore. I am not alluding to juvenile games or feigning indifference, but rather to the vital preservation of your psychological complexity in a manner that remains vibrant and intriguing. The second crucial aspect pertains to how you navigate the projections he will inevitably cast upon you. Recall my earlier assertion that he will oscillate between idealizing you and challenging you. When he idealizes you, projecting onto you all the positive qualities of his anima, the temptation is to settle into that pedestal and begin embodying that perfect version of yourself. This is a fatal error. The anima doesn't seek an untouchable goddess. She desires a real woman capable of integrating both light and shadow. If you attempt to uphold this idealized image, you will inevitably disappoint, and the projection will shatter destructively. Instead, when he idealizes you, remain authentic. Gracefully reveal your human imperfections, demonstrating that you are extraordinary precisely because you are real and complex. And when he challenges or questions you, which he will do to test if you are strong enough for his individuation process, you must not react defensively or dramatically. This is the moment to showcase your psychological fortitude. Listen, consider his words, respond with emotional intelligence, and maintain your dignity without becoming cold or vindictive. Why does this work? Because you are proving to his unconscious that you can handle the totality of the masculine personality, including the unintegrated shadow aspects. You are demonstrating your capacity to be a partner in the most crucial process of his life, becoming whole. But here is where most women fail spectacularly. They commit 3 errors that instantly kill the connection with the masculine anima. The first error is attempting to accelerate the process of intimacy. Upon realizing they have touched something profound in his psyche, they immediately seek to define the relationship, demand commitment, and force declarations of love. The male unconscious interprets this as anxiety and neediness qualities that repel the anima. The masculine anima operates on psychological time, not social time. She requires transformation to unfold organically, free from external pressure. When you force it, you shatter the magic of the natural individuation process. The second fatal error is attempting to save or fix him when he reveals his vulnerabilities. Many women, upon seeing a man open up emotionally, assume the role of therapist or mother, trying to solve his problems or offer unsolicited advice. The anima does not want a savior. She desires an equal woman who can witness his journey without attempting to control it. The third error, perhaps the most destructive of all, is weaponizing the intimate information he shared against him during conflicts. When the connection to the anima is shattered by a breach of emotional trust, it rarely mends. He unconsciously learns that you are unsafe for the process of vulnerability and integration, and his persona permanently takes the helm. What truly works is being a constant, yet non-intrusive, transformative presence. You become the woman he associates with his most evolved self. You celebrate the transformations he undergoes without claiming credit. You offer emotional depth without unnecessary drama. You challenge his growth without attempting to control it. And here is the most potent secret of all. When you properly nurture the connection to the masculine anima, you no longer need to win him over. You become integral to his individuation process, and men do not abandon women who have become a fundamental part of their journey toward psychological wholeness. We have arrived at the most pivotal juncture of this entire journey, for you now possess the discernment to recognize when the masculine anima has been awakened and how to cultivate that sacred connection. Yet, a more profound stratum exists, one that eludes the vast majority of women, and it is precisely here that the distinction is drawn. Will you be merely another memorable woman in his life, or will you ascend to become the woman he can never forget? Jung unearthed something extraordinary regarding the male individuation process. When a man encounters the woman who truly resonates with his anima, she transcends the role of a mere romantic partner. She becomes a living archetype within his psyche. She transforms into the very template against which he will measure all other women for the remainder of his life. However, this phenomenon only manifests when you succeed in integrating all facets of the masculine psyche, not solely the anima. Because the truth no one imparts is that the masculine anima, however potent, must still coexist with other psychological elements, his social persona, his rejected shadow, and his conscious ego, which presides over practical decision-making. Most women connect exquisitely with the masculine anima but falter in integrating these other aspects. This is precisely why so many relationships, commencing with profound and magical connections, ultimately unravel in seemingly inexplicable ways. The woman awakens transformation within his psyche but fails to become congruent with the totality of the masculine personality. Allow me to demonstrate how to navigate this differently. Once you have established this deep resonance with his anima, the subsequent step is to render yourself invaluable to his social persona as well. This does not entail conforming to superficial expectations, but rather contributing genuine value to his practical and social existence in ways he consciously acknowledges. You achieve this by being a woman he is proud to present to the world, not merely for her physical allure, but for her intellect, her captivating personality, and the manner in which she elevates his social and emotional standing in any setting. The anima may have ignited passion, but it is compatibility with his persona that transmutes passion into an endearing partnership. And here lies a life-altering secret. You must also engage constructively with the masculine shadow. Every man possesses facets of his personality that he disavows and endeavors to conceal: aggressive impulses, profound insecurities, irrational fears, propensities he deems unacceptable. Most women, when these darker characteristics manifest, react with repudiation, apprehension, or attempts to correct him. However, when one grasps that the shadow is an intrinsic and indispensable constituent of the human psyche, one can engage with it in a manner that is profoundly transformative. This does not imply condoning destructive behaviors, but rather acknowledging and assimilating the shadowy aspects such that they transmute into creative forces rather than destructive ones. For instance, if he exhibits controlling tendencies, rather than warring against them, you demonstrate how that very energy can be channeled into constructive leadership. If he harbors insecurities about not being enough, rather than offering maternal reassurance, you illustrate through your own actions that you perceive and value his genuine strength. When you can harmoniously integrate with the masculine anima, persona, and shadow, something magical transpires. You become psychologically indispensable, not because he is reliant upon you, but because you have become an integral component of his journey toward actualizing his highest potential. And here lies that which he truly desires, yet can never consciously articulate. He yearns for a woman who simultaneously serves as his transformative mirror, his cherished social confidant, and his ally in integrating his psychological totality. He seeks someone who perceives in him not merely the man he is today, but the man he can evolve into when all facets of his psyche operate in concert. But be forewarned, a critical distinction exists between becoming indispensable and becoming codependent. When you are psychologically indispensable, you maintain your own complete individuation while catalyzing his. You remain a whole and captivating individual in your own right, who chooses to share your plenitude with him. The ultimate secret that will render your connection truly indelible is this: you must become the woman he associates with the most evolved iteration of himself. Every encounter with you should imbue him with a sense of becoming more intelligent, more creative, more courageous, more complete. You awaken within him capabilities he was previously unaware he possessed. This occurs when you cease striving for his perfection and instead become the catalyst for his own ultimate realization. You pose questions that compel deeper introspection. You propose experiences that broaden his horizons. You offer perspectives that enrich his worldview. You celebrate accomplishments he didn't even realize held significance. When a man consistently experiences this expanded version of himself in your presence, his subconscious begins to associate you with growth, evolution, and boundless possibilities. And no man voluntarily forsakes the woman who connects him to his highest potential. This is the distinction between women who are loved temporarily and women who become legends in a man's life. The former awaken desires and emotions. The latter ignite transformation and transcendence. And when you achieve this, when you become the woman he associates with the best version of himself, you will never again need to question whether he will stay or leave, because you are no longer an option in his life. You have become a psychological necessity, and men protect their psychological necessities with their very lives. This is the power of the woman who truly understands the masculine soul. This is the secret that separates ordinary women from unforgettable women. And now you know.